When most people reach their 60s or 70s, they begin to believe that eating natural foods is automatically safe. After all, what harm can come from fruits, vegetables, or herbs that nature has provided for centuries? This assumption is deeply rooted in culture and habit. Seniors often think if it's grown on a tree, it must be healthy. While that belief sounds reasonable, it can also be dangerously misleading. The truth is, the body of a 70-year-old does not process food the same way as it did at 30 or 40. Aging changes everything: digestion, absorption, the way enzymes work, even the way medications interact with food. What may be harmless for a younger person can sometimes carry serious risks for an older adult. This is why assuming that all natural foods are universally safe is one of the most common mistakes seniors make. Let's take a moment to understand why this happens. As we age, the stomach produces less acid. This means certain foods don't break down as effectively as before. The liver, which processes toxins and helps filter substances, also becomes less efficient with time. On top of that, most seniors are on at least one, if not multiple, medications, whether for blood pressure, diabetes, cholesterol, or joint pain. Every single one of these medications can potentially interact with natural foods in unexpected ways. So when an elderly person consumes something healthy, like papaya, garlic, or even green tea, the combination with their prescription drug can trigger reactions that a younger body might easily tolerate, but an older body cannot. Think of it like this: the aging body is like a machine that has been running for many decades. Every system still works, but it no longer works at the same speed or efficiency. Add in natural wear and tear, and the margin of safety becomes much smaller. One wrong combination of food and medication may not show immediate danger, but over time it could accumulate into something serious, like liver damage, intestinal bleeding, or even heart complications. That's why silent risks in everyday foods are so critical to highlight for seniors. Now, the irony is that natural foods are powerful. They contain enzymes, phytochemicals, antioxidants, substances that can heal and repair the body. But those same substances can also interfere with prescription drugs, exaggerate side effects, or weaken the body if taken in the wrong way. For example, grapefruit is a fruit that many consider refreshing and healthy. Yet it has a compound that can drastically increase the potency of certain heart medications, leading to overdose without the patient realizing it. Garlic is another example. While excellent for blood circulation, it can thin the blood excessively if combined with blood-thinning medication. These are not rare or minor issues, they are well documented, and yet most seniors remain completely unaware of them. The first step, then, is awareness. Seniors must understand that natural does not automatically mean safe. Context matters. Age matters, medication matters. A fruit that nourishes one person could harm another if the conditions are different. The common mindset of "it worked for my neighbor, so it will work for me" is not only flawed, it can be deadly. This is the reason why stories of seniors collapsing from something as simple as an herbal tea or a fruit mix surface in medical literature. They are not coincidences, they are the result of a dangerous assumption. So the real message here is not to avoid natural foods, but to respect them. They are powerful tools that must be handled with care, especially in older age. Seniors should approach food with the same caution as they do medicine. If a doctor gives you a prescription, you don't double the dose on your own. You follow instructions carefully. The same principle must be applied to natural foods. They have healing potential, but only if they are used with the right knowledge and timing. This is where many seniors unknowingly put themselves at risk, by assuming that if one fruit is good, combining it with another must be even better. That logic may work for a salad, but it doesn't always work for the human body. Some combinations create stress on the liver, some weaken digestion, and some can dangerously interfere with medications. The difference between health and harm lies in understanding those hidden risks, and until seniors recognize this, the belief that natural foods are always safe will continue to quietly harm lives. Papaya is often seen as a superfruit. It is rich in vitamins A, C, and E, contains fiber for digestion, and its enzyme papain has been praised for helping the body break down proteins. On the surface, it seems like the perfect addition to a senior's diet. But when you look deeper, especially through the lens of aging physiology, papaya carries risks that very few seniors understand. The issue isn't that papaya is inherently bad. It's that the aging body, combined with certain medications and food habits, can turn this seemingly harmless fruit into a silent threat. The first thing to consider is digestion. Papaya contains papain, an enzyme that helps break down protein. For younger individuals with strong stomach acid and efficient gut function, this is beneficial. But in seniors, whose digestive systems often slow down, papain can sometimes overstimulate or irritate the stomach lining. This is why some older adults complain of stomach cramps, bloating, or acid reflux after eating papaya, even though the same fruit never bothered them earlier in life. Over time, this irritation can contribute to ulcers or worsen conditions like gastritis, making the fruit far less innocent than it appears. Another risk lies in papaya's interaction with medications. Many seniors are on blood thinners such as warfarin, clopidogrel, or aspirin. Papaya has been shown to influence blood clotting, in some cases amplifying the effect of these drugs. This means that instead of simply preventing clots, the combination can push the body into dangerous territory, where even a minor fall could result in internal bleeding or a brain hemorrhage. The senior may not connect this risk to papaya. They might simply think of it as a sweet, soft fruit that is easy to chew. Yet the interaction can be life-threatening. There is also the issue of blood sugar. Papaya is relatively low in sugar compared to some tropical fruits, but it still contains enough natural sugars to raise glucose levels, particularly if consumed in large portions. For a senior with diabetes, who may already be struggling to keep blood sugar within a safe range, this can add to the burden. More importantly, papaya may interact with diabetes medications, either amplifying their effect or counteracting them in unpredictable ways. This is where a seemingly safe fruit can quietly disrupt blood sugar control without immediate warning signs. Aging also changes the way the immune system responds. Some seniors develop food sensitivities later in life, even to fruits they ate comfortably for decades. Papaya contains latex-like substances that can trigger allergic reactions in certain people, leading to rashes, swelling, or even difficulty breathing. These allergic responses are more dangerous in seniors because recovery is slower, and complications set in faster. What seems like a minor reaction in a younger adult can spiral into a medical emergency in someone over 70. There's also the problem of food mixing. Seniors often enjoy papaya as part of fruit salads, smoothies, or with yogurt. But mixing papaya with certain dairy products can cause digestive stress, leading to bloating and discomfort. Combining papaya with citrus fruits like lemon or orange can overstimulate the stomach, leading to acid imbalance. And when combined with bitter foods such as bitter gourd, the digestive enzymes may clash, producing toxic byproducts that put unnecessary strain on the liver. This is not folklore, it's a biochemical reality that aging bodies are less equipped to handle. The hidden danger is not in eating papaya once or twice, but in making it a daily staple without considering these factors. Seniors often fall into routines, eating the same breakfast fruit every day. If papaya is consumed regularly alongside medication or combined with conflicting foods, the risk accumulates. Symptoms may be subtle at first: fatigue, stomach upset, or dizziness, but they can lead to severe outcomes over months or years. So while papaya deserves its reputation as a nutrient-rich fruit, it is not without consequence. For seniors, it must be consumed with caution, awareness, and balance. A small portion, eaten alone and not combined with problematic foods, may offer benefits, but blindly consuming it in the belief that it can do no harm is a mistake. The papaya problem is not the fruit itself, it is the lack of knowledge about how the aging body responds to it. By recognizing this, seniors can continue to enjoy papaya safely, rather than unknowingly placing themselves at risk. One of the most overlooked dangers for seniors lies in the interaction between foods and blood, thinning medications. As people age, the likelihood of being prescribed a blood thinner increases dramatically. Conditions such as atrial fibrillation, past strokes, deep vein thrombosis, or even routine heart health management often require drugs like warfarin, aspirin, clopidogrel, or newer anticoagulants. These medications are powerful. They reduce the risk of blood clots that could lead to heart attacks or strokes. But they also demand caution, because their effectiveness can easily be altered by what someone eats. Papaya is one of those foods that can quietly interfere with this delicate balance, and for a 70-year-old, the consequences can be devastating. To understand why, it's important to first grasp what blood thinners actually do. Contrary to the name, they don't thin the blood in the literal sense. Instead, they reduce the blood's ability to clot. This is life, saving and preventing clots from forming in arteries or veins, but it also comes with a razor-thin margin of safety. Too little clotting and even a small injury can cause uncontrolled bleeding. Too much clotting and the risk of stroke or heart attack spikes. This is where papaya becomes a hidden hazard. Papaya contains enzymes and compounds that can influence platelet function and clotting factors in the blood. When combined with medications designed to reduce clotting, the effects can stack on top of one another. A senior who eats papaya regularly while on a blood thinner may unknowingly push their body into a state where clotting becomes dangerously impaired. They may notice easier bruising, frequent nosebleeds, or bleeding gums, but often the warning signs are invisible. Internal bleeding in the stomach or intestines can occur silently, only becoming obvious when it has progressed to a life-threatening stage. The danger doesn't stop there. Blood thinner dosages are notoriously sensitive. Doctors often adjust them based on regular blood tests, and even small dietary changes can throw the balance off. Grapefruit is a well-known example of a fruit that alters drug metabolism, but papaya, though less talked about, can also shift how the liver processes certain medications. For seniors whose livers are already less efficient due to age, the combination of papaya and anticoagulants can tip the scale unpredictably. The same dose of medication that kept them safe last month may suddenly become too strong simply because they added papaya to their daily breakfast. This interaction can be particularly dangerous because it doesn't always happen immediately. A single serving of papaya may not cause noticeable harm. The real threat comes from consistent consumption over time. Seniors often develop eating habits that they repeat daily. If papaya becomes part of that routine, the cumulative effect with their medication may build slowly, leading to a dangerous event weeks or months later. When tragedy strikes, it often looks sudden, a fall that results in uncontrollable bleeding or a stroke caused by an unexpected clot, but the groundwork was laid long before through unrecognized food-drug interactions. Another overlooked factor is how seniors combine papaya with other foods that also affect clotting. Garlic, ginger, turmeric, and even green tea all have natural blood thinning properties. While healthy in moderation, Together with papaya and prescription drugs, they can create a perfect storm. The body becomes overwhelmed by multiple compounds all pushing the blood in the same direction, drastically increasing the risk of hemorrhage. What may appear to be a healthy diet, filled with fruits, herbs, and teas can, in reality, be a hidden threat when layered on top of anticoagulant therapy. The most tragic part is that these dangers are often discovered only after it is too late. A senior may suffer a severe internal bleed, collapse unexpectedly, or end up in the emergency room without any clear understanding of what went wrong. Families are left shocked, and doctors can only explain afterward that the interaction between food and medication created the crisis. This is not about fear, it is about awareness. Seniors must recognize that blood thinners demand respect, and that every food choice matters more than they realize. The lesson here is not to ban papaya entirely, but to approach it with caution. Seniors taking anticoagulants should always inform their doctors about their diets, especially if they eat papaya regularly. Even small changes should be discussed, because the margin of error is so narrow. By understanding the clotting issue and being vigilant, seniors can still enjoy fruits and maintain variety in their diet without unknowingly putting themselves at risk. The key is knowledge and the discipline to act on it. As the body ages, one of the most significant changes occurs in the digestive system. What once worked like a smooth, efficient engine begins to slow down. Stomach acid levels decrease, enzyme production is reduced, and the lining of the intestines becomes more delicate. These changes mean that foods which were once digested with ease can now create discomfort, nutrient imbalances, or even long-term damage. Papaya, with its high concentration of the enzyme papain, is often marketed as a digestive aid. For many people, this can indeed be true. But for seniors, an excess of this enzyme can sometimes overwhelm a system that is already fragile, creating more problems than benefits. Papain is powerful. It breaks down proteins quickly, which is why papaya has traditionally been used to tenderize meat. That same property works in the human stomach, helping to process protein, heavy meals. But here's the problem. When the gut is already weakened by age, medications, or conditions like gastritis or ulcers, introducing high levels of papain can irritate the digestive tract. Seniors who consume papaya regularly may begin to notice stomach pain, bloating, or diarrhea, but often dismiss these as normal signs of aging. In reality, these could be warnings that the digestive system is being overstimulated. Another issue arises when papaya is consumed alongside other enzyme-rich foods. Pineapple, for example, contains bromelain, another potent enzyme. Yogurt carries probiotics that alter gut bacteria. Citrus fruits stimulate acid production. Each of these on its own may not be harmful, but when combined with papaya, the enzyme load can become excessive. For a younger person, the gut can adapt and manage this biochemical cocktail. For a 70-year-old, the result may be too much stress on the stomach lining, leading to inflammation, acid reflux, or even small tears that take longer to heal because of reduced tissue repair. With age, this enzyme overload can also disrupt the balance of gut bacteria. Seniors already face shifts in microbiome diversity, often due to years of antibiotics, diet changes, or reduced fiber intake. When papaya's enzymes rush proteins through digestion, they sometimes reduce the natural residence time of food in the gut. This means the microbiome has less opportunity to break food down in its natural rhythm. Over time, this can starve beneficial bacteria while allowing harmful strains to flourish. A subtle imbalance begins: less nutrient absorption, more gas, less immune support. Seniors may find themselves more prone to infections, fatigue, or unexplained digestive discomfort, never realizing that their daily serving of papaya might be contributing to the issue. The impact of papaya becomes even more concerning when combined with medications that already affect the gut. Nonsteroidal anti-inflammatory drugs, commonly used for arthritis pain, can erode the stomach lining. Blood pressure pills may slow down digestion. Antacids lower acid levels further, making protein digestion even more dependent on enzymes like papain. So when papaya is added into this mix, the digestive process is no longer balanced. It is forced into overdrive in one direction while being suppressed in another. The end result is inefficiency, discomfort, and sometimes lasting damage to the gut wall. Another hidden risk is the way enzyme overload influences nutrient absorption. Seniors often face deficiencies in key vitamins and minerals like B12, calcium, magnesium, and iron. Papain's rapid breakdown of proteins can sometimes reduce the time available for proper nutrient extraction. A person may be eating enough food, but their body isn't actually absorbing the fuel it needs. Over months or years, this can contribute to weakness, cognitive decline, and reduced muscle mass, issues that seniors already struggle to fight against. The story here is not that papaya is bad, but that too much of a good thing can become harmful in the wrong context. For seniors, the aging gut is not a resilient system that can tolerate every experiment or combination. It is more sensitive, more reactive, and slower to recover from damage. Overloading it with enzymes, even natural ones like papain, can push it out of balance. The practical takeaway is moderation and awareness. Papaya in small amounts may aid digestion, but making it a daily staple, especially when combined with other strong foods or medications, is where the risk emerges. Seniors should pay attention to subtle signs. Recurring bloating, indigestion, or changes in bowel habits are not simply part of aging. They may be signals that the gut is under stress. Listening to the body, adjusting diet choices, and consulting with healthcare providers about regular fruit intake can make all the difference. Protecting the digestive system is not just about avoiding discomfort. It is about ensuring that the body can extract every bit of nutrition needed for strength, immunity, and longevity. There are lessons that statistics and research papers cannot teach as powerfully as a single real-life story. Numbers show us patterns, but stories show us consequences. One such story is of a 71-year-old man whose life ended abruptly, not because of a dramatic accident or a rare disease, but because of a simple, everyday choice that seemed harmless: eating papaya. In the wrong combination, his case is not an isolated event. It represents what can happen when awareness is missing, when natural foods are assumed to be risk-free, and when the delicate balance of an aging body is underestimated. This man had lived a relatively healthy life. He walked every morning, ate plenty of fruits, and avoided smoking or alcohol. Like many seniors, he took a few medications, blood pressure tablets, a blood thinner to reduce stroke risk, and something mild for arthritis pain. His diet was simple, and he had recently started adding papaya to his daily breakfast. It was soft, easy to chew, and seemed like a perfect choice for someone his age. What he did not realize was that his blood thinner and papaya were slowly working against him in ways he could not feel. At first, there were small warning signs. He noticed he bruised more easily than before. He would bump his arm lightly against a chair and find a dark patch forming the next day. He brushed his teeth and saw his gums bleed slightly. He dismissed these as just old age. After all, everyone bruises a little more with time, right? The truth was that his blood had become too thin. The combination of papaya enzymes and his medication was amplifying the effect beyond safe limits. One evening he enjoyed a fruit salad after dinner, mixing papaya with a citrus fruit and yogurt. To him it was refreshing and light. To his body it was an overload, enzymes irritating the gut, acids from citrus stressing the stomach lining, and dairy slowing digestion. That night, he felt mild stomach pain, but assumed it was gas. By morning, the pain had intensified, and weakness set in. What he didn't know was that a small ulcer in his stomach had started bleeding. Because his blood was too thin, the bleeding did not stop. It spread silently, draining his strength without obvious external signs. By the time his family realized something was seriously wrong, it was too late. He collapsed, and even though emergency care was called, his body could not recover from the internal hemorrhage. The doctors explained that his medications had been working correctly, but his diet, specifically the regular papaya and the combinations he had chosen, had tipped the balance dangerously. His death was not from disease or mismanagement of medicine. It was from the unrecognized risk of a fruit he thought was completely safe. This story is painful but necessary to tell. It reveals the reality that seniors are often one small step away from a preventable tragedy. Most believe that if something is natural, it must be safe. But nature is complex, and the aging body is fragile. The 71-year-old man did not die because of papaya alone. He died because of the belief that papaya was harmless no matter what. That belief silenced the early warnings, disguised the symptoms, and allowed a quiet danger to grow unchecked until it was fatal. For every senior listening, the lesson is clear. Pay attention to the signals your body gives you. Do not dismiss bruises, bleeding gums, or stomach pain as inevitable signs of aging. Do not assume that if a food worked for you in the past, it will work for you the same way now. And above all, do not combine foods and medications casually without understanding the possible interactions. A simple conversation with a doctor or nutritionist could prevent a disaster. The 71-year-old story is not meant to instill fear, but to create awareness. His tragedy can save lives if it reminds others that caution is not weakness, it is wisdom. Seniors do not need to eliminate fruits like papaya, but they must approach them with respect and knowledge. One overlooked detail, one wrong assumption, can change everything. His life is gone, but the lesson remains. No food, no matter how natural, should ever be underestimated when health is already walking a narrow line. Practical advice is often the most valuable gift for seniors, because it transforms awareness into action. Knowing that papaya and other natural foods can carry risks is important. But what truly matters is how to apply that knowledge in everyday life. Seniors cannot and should not fear every fruit or meal. They deserve to enjoy food without constant anxiety. But the way forward is not blind trust or blind avoidance. It is balance, awareness, and strategy. Practical guidelines provide the tools to navigate this challenge and protect health without sacrificing quality of life. The first guideline is moderation. No single food should dominate a senior's diet, even if it seems healthy. Eating papaya occasionally, in small portions, is generally safer than consuming it every day. The problem often arises when a fruit becomes a staple, eaten daily with the belief that more is better. For seniors, more is not always better. It is sometimes harmful. A rotating variety of fruits and vegetables reduces the risk of overload from any one particular compound. The second guideline is to avoid risky combinations. Papaya should not be casually mixed with citrus fruits, dairy products, or bitter foods like bitter gourd. These pairings create extra stress on the digestive system, or in some cases, lead to harmful chemical interactions. The safest way to eat papaya is alone, on an empty stomach, or as a standalone snack between meals. This allows the body to process it without competing enzymes or acids from other foods. Seniors should think of papaya like a prescription pill. It works best when taken the right way, not when thrown together with everything else. The third guideline is medication awareness. Seniors must always consider their prescriptions before making dietary choices. If someone is taking blood thinners, diabetic medications, or drugs for high blood pressure, they should check with their doctor before regularly including papaya. The interaction may not always be severe, but even small changes in blood sugar, clotting, or digestion can accumulate into dangerous effects over time. Too often, people share health tips with each other. Eat papaya, it helped me, without realizing that one person's medicine cabinet is not the same as another's. Every senior should remember, your body, your medications, and your diet form a unique equation. What is safe for one person might be risky for you. The fourth guideline is to pay attention to the body's signals. Seniors must never ignore bruising, gum bleeding, stomach pain, or changes in bowel habits. These are not simply signs of aging. They are signals that something in the body is off balance. Keeping a small food and symptom diary can be a powerful tool. If papaya or any other food consistently leads to discomfort, that is the body's way of saying it is not handling it well. Listening to those signals can prevent larger problems down the road. The fifth guideline is professional consultation. Seniors should treat diet with the same seriousness as medicine. Bringing up questions about papaya or other fruits during routine checkups may feel unnecessary, but it is far better to ask than to assume. Doctors and dietitians can provide clarity, especially when multiple medications are involved. A 2-minute conversation could prevent a major health crisis. Ladies and gentlemen, the sixth and final guideline is perspective. Food should never become a source of fear. Papaya has benefits. It provides antioxidants, supports digestion, and can be refreshing and hydrating. The point is not to label it as dangerous, but to respect it as a powerful tool that requires careful use. Seniors must shift their mindset from natural equals safe to natural equals powerful. Power can heal or harm depending on how it is used. In practical terms, this means enjoying papaya in small amounts, avoiding dangerous pairings, staying mindful of medications, and watching the body's response. These steps are not complicated. They require awareness more than effort. Seniors who follow these guidelines can still enjoy the sweetness of papaya without putting themselves at unnecessary risk. Longevity is not built on restrictions alone. It is built on wise choices, consistency, and respect for the body's changing needs. With the right approach, seniors can continue to enjoy natural foods safely, protecting not just their health, but their independence, energy, and years of life.